Okay, I am unmuted, right? Okay, just making sure. The past few episodes were crazy, crazy. I don't know what happens every time I do this show and suddenly my mic goes on mute. I thought it was whenever there was a bug in my stream deck that when I hide the comment, it would stop or it would mute. But apparently, it's not. It could be at the end of every song that I play or music track that I play. It goes on mute. I just can't figure it out for the life of me. So, hey, what's up, everyone? Good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome back to the show. Watch Me Work as usual. This is our seventh episode. Let's check that out. All right. Good evening, my friend. There you go. Bricks, always here, always present, ever present, very omnipotent. Welcome to the show. I actually made a mistake. I started the show a bit late. Um, I thought I was broadcasting, but apparently I wasn't. So yeah, it's just a minute late, but you know how it is. One thing before I get started, and I will repeat this later as we go through the show because I know a lot of the audience logs in midway actually. So hey, make yourself heard in the comments and let me know where you're from if you're new here. I would love to hear from everyone. What was I saying? Okay, so we are now on our seventh episode, right? And we had a fantastic sixth episode last week. It was our middle or halfway point. One season of Watch Me Work is around 12 episodes, right? Right, yes. So halfway would be six. Okay, so I will be having a season break, maybe after the second or third episode from today, mainly for two things. One, I always want to have a break in between or at the midpoint of my shows. I guess it was supposed to be this week, but I forgot also. But anyway, starting September I think 21 or 24, I'll be out. I'm not sure if you follow me on you should be following me on Facebook and Instagram. And I won a fellowship. I got into a fellowship. I got accepted into a fellowship in Jackson Wild, and we're gonna have it in Austria this year. So it's a Jackson Wild. Jackson Wild Media Festival is essentially like your Golden Globes for documentary films or natural history filmmaking. Wild Screen would be your Oscars. And this is a great opportunity for me because I'm going to be mentored for a documentary project that I'm gunning for. And the reason I'll be out for a while, I'll be out for a month, is that I'll not only will I be attending that summit, but at the same time I'm going to be working on my grant proposal for National Geographic. So wish me luck. And I need to focus on that. So I will have to sort of take a step back from the show for a bit, and then come back. Probably, let me check my calendar. Probably on the 19th of October. So that is when we'll resume. So I'm not sure yet if we're gonna have 2 or 3 more episodes after this, but for sure, I'll be out. In the last week I think or the second to the last week of September. So just making it known, right? So there, yeah. What's up? Aside from Bricks, who else is here? Please make yourself heard in the comment section. Whether you've been here for a while, whether this is your first time on the show, watching the show, yeah, it gets lonely. Speaking to myself, I feel like I'm speaking to myself if I don't see anyone in the comment section. All right. So again, my name is Noel. For those of you who are new here, and I'm a conservation and wildlife photographer and filmmaker. I have been a filmmaker for quite a while, actually, before this. And this show is really my way of sort of giving back, and I love teaching, so that's why I run the show. If it's one of my shows on YouTube, here on YouTube, so please subscribe, like this video, subscribe, and again, crush that notification bell. My other show is Hammerhead Gearhead, which is a gear review show. And between the two shows, I have so much fun here on YouTube. And this is a little bit more fun because I get to talk to you guys and engage, right? And at the same time, we are sponsored or powered by Saramonic, as you can see right here. No, you can't see it. And Nanlite Paddle Bulb. So thank you to our sponsors for making this possible and for running or for supporting our giveaways and raffle draws. So that's amazing. Hey, what's up, Randy? Randy has been helping me with my audio actually for a lot of things. And, thank you for that, especially for tuning this mic. When I first got the Saramonic mic, I couldn't figure it out properly. Randy is the ivory tower of Pinoy OPM. So he knows how these things go, and he should actually. And again, super chat is on. So please show you, if you want to show your appreciation, you can give in to $2 probably if your heart allows you to, so to speak. And then, yeah. All right. So what's up, Aaron? So Aaron, I'm pretty good. The show is keeping me alive. I look forward to it every Wednesday. And you guys keep me young. Okay, so Aaron, since I tagged you, as per our ritual, so to speak, can you give me a color for our Paddle Bulb? I think last time it was teal. So be creative, Aaron, and send me something good. So send it. I know there's a sort of lag, so I'll just change this when it happens. And what's up to our... We have another comment here. From Julia, who just had her amazing 45th birthday. And happy birthday to you. Grow up, you're an adult, and yeah. Be a very, very good favorite. Okay, so I wanna talk about the episode today, which is all about editing photos from your phone, right? So, having these amazing mobile phones or devices with fantastic, incredible cameras has made photography available to everyone, and it made photography very accessible, and it's wrong for a lot of photographers to actually gatekeep because it doesn't matter what you have with you. The best camera is the one you have with you, and the phone is a phone. A phone is a camera and it works. So, yeah. From Mike, hello Mike, what's happening? Is this your first time on the show? Yeah, let me know. Okay, from Aaron, indigo. What the hell is indigo? Damn it. Indigo is like blue, right? Indigo. I actually had to Google what exactly indigo is. Yeah, it's a sort of dark blue, right? Sort of navy blue, like this, right? So trust. Okay, so there is a feature of the Paddle Bulb of the Nanlite app that allows you to actually camera match, use your camera, like so, and match a color. So for example, if I had like a color red over here, I could match it, and automatically it turns red. That's amazing, right? So for example, here, let me demonstrate. So this is a highlighter, and if I just did this, what am I doing? Am I doing this right? There you go. And I capture it and click done. It turns green. It's amazing. Okay, so indigo would be some darker blue. So that's that for you, Aaron. All right, going back. That was cool. Let me show you this. And so recently, I've been to Masungi with Power Max Center to do an assignment using a phone, right? An iPhone 13 Pro Max. And having used SLRs or DSLRs for so long for my assignments, I was a bit apprehensive to use a phone for a project like this one. But I wanted to do the project with them. So this is in partnership with PowerMax Center and Masungi Geo Reserve. So a result of that, if you haven't seen it yet, is this video where I took portraits of, let's not have two of me, where I shot portraits of hikers and the rangers of Masungi Geo Reserve. So Masungi is amazing. I think most of you have been there, and the conservation work that they're doing, the photo opportunities, and just the the excitement, the thrill of hiking such an amazing, beautiful trail deserve to be covered. So I used the phone for this, and as you'll see, how I was taking photos right there. Right, so I used the phone exclusively. I didn't bring a DSLR. It was probably one of my lightest camera packs I've ever had to bring on an assignment. So this is on Legacy Trail, and this was directed by Erwan Yusuf, as you all probably know. And we've been working together for a while. So when I was a director, I was directing Erwan, and then now that I'm a photographer, Erwan directed me. So I'll be using the photos that I took on this project specifically for this show or for this episode. And let me bring up some of the photos I took. Let me check that. All right. So I was astonished and surprised by the capabilities of the iPhone 13 Pro. And I'm not just saying this because I used it as part of a project with PowerMax Center. I am very particular about taking photos, and I'm very, how would I say, fiercely honest in my gear reviews, whether the device was, even if the device was given to me. So I'm not saying this as a sort of pablum, but I was blown away with how it was performing. And I do want to say that there is a specific way of taking photos first before you go into post-processing, right? So here, one of the things that I want to first tackle would be, how can you make sure that the photos you take with your mobile phone are going to be good, right? When it comes, when you get to post. And there are a few things you have to take into consideration. One is I always shoot single. I don't shoot in burst mode for the main reason that, how do I say this? I want to compose really well, right? Second would be I always shoot in. Let's showcase the photos as I talk, so it's not just me, and let's play some music with it. Okay, so I also make sure that I'm shooting in RAW, Pro RAW. So that's the latest feature for the iPhone, at least, because it saves it as a DNG file. Oh yeah, so here it is. This is me and Erwan and the team. So it was a very, very nice day back in May. That's pretty cool. And I also make sure that, okay, so when you shoot in RAW, it saves it as a DNG, which is a digital negative. And you know how it is when you shoot in RAW, you preserve more detail. You can change the white balance easily. And, it gives you more latitude when you get into post, right? And then, of course, there are photographic styles, so to speak, when you shoot with an iPhone, and I always try to just go for standard. I don't go for the rich contrast or the warm or the blue or the cool. I just want it as flat in a way as possible. And another thing is that I screen cap this so for better understanding. I am very also particular about my my focal length. So for example, we have these numbers on our iPhones. For example, you have 0.5, you have 1x and 3. They have corresponding focal lengths for 35 millimeter. So the 0.5 would be 13 millimeter, so it's incredibly super wide, that I use mainly for just landscape establishing shots. I always shoot it with a 24 millimeter when I'm shooting my conservation work, for action at least. So in this case, I use the 26 mm a lot, and the 77 mm would be for 3, and that's perfect for portraits, aside from portrait mode. So for portraits, I would use portrait mode if I want to sort of blur the background. But you have to remember that blurring the background is artificial when you use portrait mode, because, generally speaking, you can't achieve that kind of bokeh with an iPhone naturally, right? And please do not zoom in. Stick with the 3 lenses that you have and don't do any digital zooms, because that happens in post or digitally, as the name suggests, and it completely ruins sometimes the quality of the image. Okay, so you know what? Let's get into editing, and I'll go straight to Lightroom. And so here we have the photos lined up. So one of the things also I noticed while taking these photos for using an iPhone is that it's also very flat, right? Because I chose flat. But at the same time, you have to adjust the tones. And the saturation also, or at least the vibrance, needs a lot of work. And it doesn't perform so well, I would say, on low light. Right? And this one I shot with HDR turned on, and it came out really, really well, and just have to push it further. And this one, same HDR. And what HDR does is that it, in a very simple way, what it does is it gives you more detail in the shadows and also in the highlights. So that gives you more room to bring out, some detail. So let's get to it. Okay, so let's start with something a little more easy to edit. So let's start with this. So these are the 3 hikers that I was with. So we have Fel and Sarah and John. These are the rock climbers and hikers, incredible people. I had so much fun with them. Made me feel younger, so to speak. And yeah, I had so much fun with these guys, right? So let's edit it. And the first thing I would always do when I do this is try to identify what the problem is. The problem here, I think, is the vibrance. And I feel like also that there isn't much tonal contrast in the image. And also, I would love to bump up the colors and accentuate those shadows that you see here. So I love this photo specifically for the shadows, the patterns that they were giving. So when you take photos, also with, in general, whether it's with a phone or with your DSLR, try to look for patterns, whether they're made by shadows or shafts of light, reflections even. As you would notice here in these images, I was making use of the patterns in the shadows. I was going for tonal contrast between a bright sky, right, and having them underneath this hut, using rule of thirds for portraits. I love outdoor portraits. They're amazing. They give you a sense of scale, and it shows the backdrop. They're more immersive. They show you the backdrop within which your portrait is. And yeah, reflections are also great. Try to look for these opportunities anywhere you can, and they elevate your photos to a whole other level. All right, so the one thing I would do is, again, always, my first thing I do, this is not science, it's not, etched in stone, but I always start with shadows and try to see how much more detail I can come up with. And at the same time, lower the highlights just to get more of that detail in. I will also crush the blacks as I normally do even with film. And then I also feel like I could, increase the exposure slightly, and then this is where iPhone or at least mobile phone cameras lack, and its contrast, and just bring that up a bit, and then finally have some clarity. Clarity is all about adding more definition. Too much contrast, actually. Sometimes you get too much of everything if you bump up the contrast and also the clarity. So I try to be very disciplined when it comes to this. And finally, just add some vibrance to it. Again, the vibrance adds saturation, to the cool colors, and so that it doesn't get too wonky. And then for the tonal curve, I just give it a very, very slight S curve. All right, so S curve would be increasing your highlight slightly and then crushing the shadows like so. Right, and then probably add a bit more exposure to the midtones. And then for detail, again, I'll turn off sharpening. And there you have it. For full screen, this is what you have. My formula, if you would call it that, is very... Sorry about this. Hold on. My formula is very simple, I would say. I try not to do so many things, and I try also to, after this, I would add sharpness in Photoshop, because that's where sharpness is done better. So yeah, that was cool. Looking back at it again, I would probably bring the blacks up and reduce the contrast there, and shadows up. Okay, another one that I would do would definitely be this. Okay, so low light. I selected this photo specifically for that problem, and that is how to accentuate or make something like this more interesting. So I would definitely increase exposure slightly higher, while still making sure that the shadows and the highlights are also controlled. I would also increase the contrast to give more definition. Let's zoom in. Let's try to go in a bit more. So I want to add, I'm shooting from a distance from my subject, so I want to add some more definition to Sarah specifically. And so I would add some more contrast to that and some clarity. There you go. And what's happening is I'm adding a lot of detail to the 3, and also to the 3, the 3 and the 3. At the same time, right? And then add vibrance to it to make it more colorful. And it's always good, by the way, to add some more warmth to a photo. Not too much, though. It adds a lot of that. It makes it more appealing. Any photo that you take, try to warm up the temperature a bit, and it makes it better. So here, the tint, adding some tint, and then tone curve, just to give it a bit of an S curve. And there you have it. Should we throttle down on the exposure a bit? I think so. There it is. Or maybe just bring the blacks down, right? Hold on. Okay, and there you go. Let's do a comparison wherein, so create a virtual copy of this. And let's reset the settings. And let's do a comparison. Of this. And then this. There. Okay. So there you have it. That is the before and after of both photos. So you can see where we took it, right? I would also probably do some lens corrections. So there you can see it corrects the barrel distortion and everything. Looking at it right now from zooming out, I think I'll also lessen the highlights a bit more just to give more detail to it. Right. So the ironic thing is that while I say that you should shoot RAW, I accidentally shot all of these in JPEG or HEIC, which is a lower quality, so to speak. The reason behind that is even sometimes if I turn on RAW, if I do something else with the phone or put it on standby to hike, it goes back and resets and shoots in HEIC, which is weird. I don't know if I was doing something wrong, or there was a setting that I missed out on. But some of the photos are in RAW and most are in HEIC, as you can see here. Let's bring that out. There you go. So yeah, so this is HEIC, as you can see right here. And then here's another one. This one was shot in RAW at DNG, so you can see you have more detail. Right. All right, so let's work on this. This is a landscape photo. Now, you have to manage your expectations as well. With taking with the phone with a very, very small sensor, you're not going to make, you're not going to capture landscape photos the likes of what, like Win Magsino or excuse me, sorry, I muted that on purpose. Or Win Magsino or Chris Magsino, or any of the amazing landscape photographers. You can't get something like that with the phone, but you could try. Having more detail in camera works as well to your advantage. So again, let's get the blacks in, bring out the shadow slightly. If you go too much, it's crazy, right? Bring down the highlights to bring out more detail from that sky and add some contrast to it, right? And clarity. Wow, it's amazing. Bring back the blacks. Add some dehaze to it. I feel like it's burnt. So let's have it. The highlights are burnt, and then add a lot of vibrance to it. And then again, add some warmth to the photo, just to bring it a bit of a kick. And then work the S curves to give you more detail. I would also crop this. So when it comes to landscape, you either have to decide, do you want 2/3? You can't do it half, right? So don't do half, half sky and half ground. So you either do 2/3 ground or 2/3 sky, whichever is more interesting. In this case, I added more ground, right? As you can see to the 2/3, but I will just tweak that slightly, right? So what will happen is, what happens if I make it the other way around and go for more of the sky? Let's see. Yeah, it works. The sky is also interesting, but you want more of the ground, and that's what I wanted, simply because this is all about reforestation and rehabilitating our forests. So I will do it something like that. Okay, so for our last photo, this would be this outdoor portrait of this strapping young gentleman by the name of John Aquino. So John, if you're watching, make yourself heard. All right, so again, bring out the highlights. Bring out the shadows. Drop the highlights and add more blacks and contrast to it. Add more exposure slightly. And then add some clarity and the haze. So this is again the problem I see with photos taken with the iPhone. You just need to add more total contrast through clarity, the haze, and the blacks, crushing the blacks. Okay. So I feel like in this case that our subject is sort of sinking into into the frame. So I would probably just add, I will select the subject by masking him. Let's say a radial gradient. So like this, just his face. And then increasing the shadow slightly to make him pop out. So if you want to see it extreme, what I'm doing, just, you know, pull the lever to the other side, but you don't want that. Just want slightly brighter. Right. So you want most of the attention to be on his face, and that's what I would do by, you know, adding a sort of mask to it. Okay. Let's duplicate this. Let's create a virtual copy just for the sake of comparison. All right. So this one will reset. And then let's do a comparison. There it is. Okay, so this is the before and this is the after. The differences are very, very subtle, but it just, you know, it makes the image. It just does. Okay. So this is our last photo. If I'm going too fast, let me know. Also, if you have any questions, just leave them in the comments. This is an HDR photo of the three of them in this really cute little makeshift hut. Well, it's not makeshift. It's an actual hut made of sustainable organic materials that are sourced, you know, within the area. And what you want to do is, with an HDR photo, just add some more tonal contrast again, add some clarity, a bit of the haze. It's very, very, you know, light-handed with this one, and add a lot of vibrance to it. And yeah, there you go. Then add some tone curve again to bring out that image. And I would probably make it slightly warmer. All right, I might actually, it might seem counterproductive, but I might bring down the saturation slightly so that it's not too garish as well. Yeah, and there you have it. I would also try to address the blues over here in color grading for the highlights. Sorry, the midtones, and just probably make them slightly darker. There. Okay. Did it freeze? It froze. So again. Oh, there you go. Okay, so that is how I would edit it. Again, very light-handed with how I work, but very, very direct with what I want to do. You know, you can also, in the last episode, we were talking about film looks. So you can also work with film on this. So let's say I would probably go use a Mastin Lab preset and use adventure, something like, I love Superia actually. Maybe Ektar? Ektar might be good. Let's try Ektar. Simulating, you know, Ektar 100. Just increase the exposure, bring up the shadows slightly, reduce the contrast. That's cute. That's really cute. Add some detail and increase the vibrance. Yeah. At least that's what I would do. This is, let's look at them again. So this is with the Ektar preset, and this is with my preset, with what I did procedurally. I like the Ektar because it adds a bit more of those brown colors on those bamboos that you see at the back, and the tree just looks amazing. Right, like so. What else should we do? How about with this one? Can we add a filter to it? A preset, a film preset? Yeah, definitely. We could go with, no, not Tri-X. I think that's too much. We can go with Portra 400, which is usually good for skin tones. I'm not paid by Mastin Labs, by the way. But I would love to be. Yeah. So there. I think the contrast is too high. Let's bring that down. So sometimes these presets work to your advantage mainly because it makes your editing so much better, so much faster even. But you have to understand that I'm also doing this as part of an assignment, mainly to showcase the world as it really is, or what I'm covering as it really is. So the less of these filters to use that I use, the better. So probably I would have this filter on and adjust it as you've seen, and then just lower the opacity to 20% on Photoshop. So the effect essentially is only 20%, right? And I also wanted to showcase the power and the features of the phone, of the iPhone 13 Pro Max. So I had to try to present the images as they were taken with a bit of post. So a comment here from Nova. What is your profile photo? It's really cool. Cool reflection. Yes, I try to look for reflections all the time in where I'm shooting because it adds a lot of dimension. Sorry, let's bring that back. Adds a lot of dimension to scenes immediately, to otherwise, very mundane and boring scenes, right? And yeah, let me show these again. So this one was with the Ektar filter. This one was what I edited before. This is, I believe, this is what I used. I was procedural. I just went through the settings. And then this one is with the Portra 400 Mastin Labs preset. This is an HDR photo that we edited. And then another HDR photo that we edited first. And then finally, an HDR landscape. Honestly, you know what? Looking at this, I wasn't too happy with this photo. I think that there was something wrong going on with how the colors were interacting. I thought they were too vibrant in a sense, right? And yeah, that's it. Right. So that is our episode for today. If you have any questions about this approach with mobile phones, I would love to hear it. In fact, this is the second phone that I used for an assignment. So the first one I did was with a Techno Mobile phone back last year. I actually used it for underwater, and I'm just amazed by how good the camera phones are. Yeah, so let's play some music. Right. Okay. So throw in your comments or your throw in your questions in the comments section below, so that we can answer them. While we're waiting for these comments, let me shush that a bit. I'd like to repeat that we'll be taking a season break after probably either the second or the third episode after this. I'll be going to Europe, to Austria for the Jackson Wild Summit. I've been accepted as an In-Summit fellow, so I'll be getting some tutelage and mentorship for the grant application that I'll be submitting to National Geographic in the second week of October. So I needed 1 month to focus on that grant application. So I need to take a break from Watch Me Work. And however, by the way, for the next 2 episodes, we're going to do it slightly different. I can't reveal it to you right now. This has always been the plan. And you'll find out in my announcement probably on Monday on how we're going to do the next 2 episodes, or the rest of the season, right? And the second season, if we're lucky enough to have one. So well, it doesn't look like anyone has comments, but I do see 9 likes. So thank you very much for the support. And again, I'd like to thank you all for coming to this episode, and that we're sponsored by Saramonic and Nanlite Pava Bulb. If you are interested in either or any of the Saramonic products or the Nanlite products, please leave a please leave a message after the tone. The discount codes are in the description below. Yes, and also that if you could visit Masungi G Reserve, it's an amazing place, and you can see the work that they're doing, the important work that they're doing, which is protecting and rehabilitating the Marikina watershed, which due to deforestation is suffering from floods. That's basically what happens, and they are fighting against poachers, land grabbers, illegal squatter or professional squatters. There are a lot of those. So if you can visit them, do the Discovery Trail, which I did, or the Legacy Trail, which is longer and a bit harder, which I also did. Okay, wait. So there's a comment here from Bricks. Have you tried the Samsung smartphone? I have the Galaxy S10 Plus. It is such an amazing phone. Well, Bricks, the stars are always aligning because great minds think alike. I am actually using an S10 Plus as well. The camera is great also. So I have two phones. I have the S10 Plus and I also have the iPhone 13 Pro, which my wife is using. But yeah, I love the phone. I just am frustrated a bit about the portrait mode on this. The focusing is abysmal. It keeps on hunting for faces. I don't know if it's because I haven't updated it, but yeah, that's my only comment. But otherwise, it's an amazing phone. It's a great phone. It's the only phone actually that I've used so long that I bought a second case for it because the first one just fell apart. So that says a lot about how long this phone has been with me and how long phones usually last with me. So yeah, if there are no other questions, I think that's it for today. I'll see you next week with a big surprise if I make it in time, because it's my friend's birthday as well. Let's see. But we've been doing this for 7 episodes, so it's clockwork basically. So yeah, please like, subscribe, and crush that notification bell if you haven't yet. And I'll just keep everything under wraps for next week, so that you guys can have a pleasant surprise. And that's it for today. Thank you for dropping by. Watch me work. And as always, try to get your photos good, straight out of camera, so that you would spend less time in post. Cool. See ya.